All right, let's get started. Welcome, everybody, and happy Halloween. Today we have an awesome hot deals update here for you. And if you want to learn more about real estate investments and join our community, you can join our class. We have a class every Friday in the morning where we go over finding deals, flipping deals, and how we can win deals. So we're gonna have a Halloween's version of our hot deals update. A couple of agenda items is we'll go over some housing cost challenges and how it presents a challenge to homeowners, but also presents an opportunity for real estate investors like us. And our intention is to give you some understanding and empathy on the challenges homeowners are facing, and could be one of the major factors of driving them to want to sell their house. Second one is we're looking at housing affordability and the impact on middle income renters. And, as we know, renters over time becomes potential buyers. And so we also want to look at how that factors in. And then we'll also look at the pre-foreclosure market, how we can invest a little bit and, win these big winnings through buying pre-foreclosure, highly motivated, high equity type of properties. Well, it doesn't need to be high equity. Actually, as long as they're motivated to sell, there are ways to profit from making the deal and solving the problem for the homeowner. All right, so let's get started. So we've been seeing rising, soaring home prices, and millions of low-income homeowners are struggling to afford the housing cost. A couple of big factors, as you can see on the left-hand side, we see the house home price index has been trending up throughout the past, ever since the pandemic, very sharply, but throughout the past decade or so. And then we're also seeing interest rate has been skyrocketing now to at a height of 7.79%. The Fed has recently dropped the rate. It has come down a little bit, but we're also seeing the mortgage rate starting to come back up. So that affects the affordability on housing. And this chart, we are looking at the breakdown on housing cost burden broken down by different groups based on their income. So on the first group, right, we see that the trend that the housing cost is becoming a bigger and bigger part of their household income, especially those that have under $30,000 annual income. And there are two colors. You see the bright red are the ones that are severely impacted, and the dark, I can't even describe the color. The darker color is the one that are moderately impacted. And so we can see the trend where the low income households are feeling really, really a big burden in terms of housing. There's also on top of that, there is the rising home insurance. So on the left chart, what we're seeing is the as time goes on from each circle. So each circle represents a year progressing, and we're seeing that even though the effective tax rate has been dropping, the circles are becoming bigger, right? And the size of the circle is how much tax burden that they have. So the taxes are becoming bigger over time, even though the effective rate has dropped. And on the right chart, we're seeing the home insurance premium has been rising, and a lot of them are seeing more than 50%. So the average premium has increased by more than 25% just across the board. And if you kind of look into the actual chart, we are seeing the states that have the hikes, and Texas happens to be the state that has the highest hike in insurance premium growth. And a lot of them, if you're homeowners or if you own investment properties in Texas, you probably already see our insurance bill has been coming up. By the way, if you're interested in getting a copy of these charts, just send us a message and we'll send you the slide deck so you can examine this further. Okay, next let's look at the DFW market. Today we decided to look at more kind of focusing on the Dallas-Fort Worth and the Dallas market. And in the Dallas-Fort Worth market in general, we are seeing a drop in median home prices. And actually, we're seeing a big increase, right? The key number here is active listings. There was a 41% increase from last month. And overall, we're looking at 4.1 months of inventory. So when we look at inventory, it's an indicator of whether it's a buyer's market or seller's market. If it's less than 4 months, it means there's not a lot of inventory sitting on the market and it's a seller's market. And if it's more than 4 to 5 months, usually 6 months, that's an indicator of a buyer's market. It means there's a lot of houses on the market. So we're seeing an increase of inventory, and now we're reaching about 4.1%. So let's continue to monitor that and see if that's an indication of a market shift. Now, obviously, the interest rate also affects whether the trend is going to continue to increase the houses that are going for sale and they're not moving, or the further drop in interest rate will start driving the demand and reverse the trend. We have a flash sale. For those that are joining us here, you can get a special pricing from our off-market motivated sellers package. There's a 10% price break for live stream viewers and a 15% if you schedule a one-on-one demonstration or consultation in terms of finding deals. So we're here to help you, and this promotion is going on for the next 8-9 days. So make sure you take advantage of that. Next, let's switch and talk about home affordability and how it impacts the middle income renters. So we have a couple of charts here. The chart on the left, what we want to pay attention to is the income growth line, which is the blue line, versus the rental income line. The rental growth line, which is the looks like a dark violet line. And we, from a rental standpoint, we see that it has been spiking around 2022, 2023 timeframe. And ever since then, the rent actually has been dropping this year. And we're seeing more houses for rent on the market, just locally speaking, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And the main reason is that they have risen so much that it has become more and more unaffordable for renters. So on the right chart, you can see that on the kind of upper left, this chart here is talking about the percentage for renters. How much are they spending as part of their income to housing cost? And we see a couple of states that have the highest burden in terms of paying for housing. Oh, excuse me. When I say renter, I meant the upper right chart here, where it's an indication for renters. And we see a couple of key states where we see that the rent has become a bigger and huge part of their income, where Florida and the West Coast are seeing the biggest burden. Next couple of charts. So let me explain what the AMI is. We see on this chart here that says percent of AMI. AMI stands for area median income. And so when we have a median, if a household is getting, is earning a median income, they're kind of in that, 100% range, right? So we're seeing that they fall between 60 to 120 and over 120. That's kind of the range. And so we're seeing that for those that have a lower median income, they are seeing a big part of their income going towards housing cost. And for the median income, which is kind of middle class, middle income earners, they are the least impacted. That said, it also depends on state by state. So, like I said, Florida and the West Coast, they're feeling a bigger part of the burden. Over 40% of their cost is going into housing, and the yellow states are seeing 30 to 39% of their housing, where almost pretty much more than one third, right, close around one third of their income. Whereas the rest of the United States are they're not paying as much. So while we're looking at the average number, they're not significantly impacted. When we're looking at the actual states, right, that's where we see the discrepancy between kind of the national average to what your local looks like, what your local area looks like. Now, fortunately, many states have also created a couple of new policies and programs to help with affordability. And if you're in these states, there are a couple of programs that you can take advantage of, or your renter. If you're a real estate investor and you have cash flowing properties, you can also share some of these programs with your renters, a couple of grants or loans that they might be able to take advantage of to help with their housing costs. Again, this chart is available for download upon request. And so if you want to read more about the programs, go ahead and send us an email. All right. Next, we have what's called LIRA, which is the leading indicator of remodeling activity. So LIRA for short. And we kind of the general kind of takeaway from this chart is that we're expecting an increase of 1.2% for remodeling and repairs for homes by mid next year. Couple of key figures to keep in mind of. Vacancy rates have gone to historical low, and rent growth has plummeted because it was rising very sharply. We were looking at really record high rents. So about one third of Americans are they rent their homes in 2024. A couple of key figures. And also we're seeing 2,654 new renters are entering the rental market every day. And then another key figure here is that we see 7.9 million Gen Z renters are expected to drive up the rental demand in the next 20 years. So the Gen Z and also to a certain extent, millennials are driving up these demands now. Okay, and another big trend that we've been hearing is that the build to rent homes are also increasing. A lot of investors are looking at build to rent kind of communities to invest in. So that might be something worth looking into. All right, so with that said, we want to encourage you to join our buyers list as we have started marketing and turning motivated seller leads into actual deals for you. We have heard you as our clients. While motivated seller leads are valuable, deals are even more immediate. It adds immediate value to you, especially for those that are ready to buy. So if you want to be that first group that gets our notification for available deals, make sure you join our list. Here are a couple of deals that we have acquired and sold, and some of the deals we're also marketing for our clients as well. So if you have active live deal, we can also help you match you up with a serious buyer. So a couple of deals here that we recently marketed. So again, use that QR code to join our buyers list. All right, last but not least, very important is that let's look at the pre-foreclosure data. There's a lot of opportunity here every single month. What I appreciate the most about the pre-foreclosure list is that pretty much, every day, certainly every week, right? Every day, it really depends on the county and how many properties that they put on the county website. But the pre-foreclosure properties are endless. It's kind of an endless stream of motivated seller opportunities that we can have constant access to. And we can have access to these data fresh. And then we can reach out to these motivated sellers right away. And that's why I appreciate the most about the pre-foreclosure properties. And it's endless. So if I have a marketing system in place, as soon as the listing comes out, we can start marketing to them. And then, some folks would do a kind of shotgun approach. Every single property, we're going to reach out to them and see how many would respond. Some folks do a little more of a targeted approach. They would do some further research on these properties first. And when they see kind of the indicator and a particular niche that they prefer, for example, it could be what we are doing in property acquisition for our map process, where we're looking for houses specifically have low equity and they really need to sell. And then we can come in with a creative solution to help them solve their problem. Okay, so let's look at the pre-foreclosure data because that's very insightful. So first, we're deep diving in the Dallas-Fort Worth area today. And if we look at the equity breakdown on these houses going into foreclosure, we see that overall there are over 800 deals in just 1 month, and there are over $90 million in equity. So a lot of opportunity here for investors, over 800 deals. Obviously, not all of them want to sell, or not all of them are motivated or in the place to sell. But obviously, objectively, if they don't sell, they either go into foreclosure or they have to find another solution to stop the foreclosure. So it's a very popular type of motivated sellers our clients enjoy. And we see that the majority, or at least not the majority, but the higher percentage are the ones that have over $100,000 in equity. The next thing we did is we also wanted to look at the breakdown based on the interest rate, right? So as they're going to foreclosure, there is an underlying mortgage that's driving that foreclosure. So we started tracking this data, and what we find is that the biggest group are the ones that took on the higher interest loans between 5 to 7%, and typically it was between end of 2022 and 2023, right? And we're going to validate that with the next slide. So what we see here on the chart on the right is that it's the interest rate. So we had a period, historically, we had a period of low interest rate and a period of high interest rate. So the most recently we see, between 2020 to 2022 is where we see very, very low interest rate, right, in this area. And then around, early to mid 2023 is where we see the higher interest rate here. And so when we kind of see the origination date of the loans breakdown, what we see is that these area, with between 2008 to 2016, right, the low interest rate area, that 15% of those have low interest rate. And then also between 2020 and 2022, about 26% of those have low interest rate. So if you're looking into a creative financing type of solution, these are very attractive opportunities. Cool. Okay. So I think this is our last slide. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us or use the comment to ask your questions. And appreciate you all joining us here today and kind of looking at the market trend and the foreclosure trends with us. And we look forward to sharing this results with you next month. A couple of things to put on your calendar is we have a full November class and events calendar coming up. And every Thursday at 11 a.m. we have either an event or a class. So make sure you mark that on your calendar, and we'll see you on Thursdays.